the year 2020. A year that most of us want to forget. A year where everything stopped. A year when the world stopped traveling. A year when airlines canceled flights daily without notice. A year when you didn't know when you'd see your family again the next time you left home. For some, well, for most people, it was an easy decision to stay home, in quarantine with your loved ones, work from home, and get by day after day, slowly but surely awaiting better times. For others, me included, travel continued to be a necessity. To get to work, to take home a monthly salary, to put food on our table every night. I used to love to travel. I still do. But in these times, you actually see the suffering of the airline industry. You see the uncertainty in the faces of the crew, whether they'll have a job to come back to next week, or in a month, the social distancing while boarding, the mandatory wearing of a face mask during a 12-hour flight, the same tasteless pasta served on every economy flight. KLM, Lufthansa. It's all the same. I don't know how to describe it. Sad? Depressing? Dispiriting? Gloomy? Daunting? I used to hate the crowds. The crying babies. The obnoxious passengers. Nowadays, I almost wish those days were back. Sort of. I've flown a dozen times over the Atlantic during this pandemic. It was during this time I decided I wanted to start my channel, to record my experience and show all of you how we are still able to travel across continents during a pandemic. But also, and most importantly, I record these moments mostly for my personal interest, as I always want to be remembered not to take my freedom of travel for granted, ever again. It may seem, in some of my videos, showing an empty plane from South America to Europe, that it's nice to have an entire Dreamliner, or a 777 all to yourself. And sure, it's convenient. But deep inside, I'm afraid of the future of the airline industry. How I always could afford to travel, to get to work effortlessly. How I was spoiled with daily, direct flights. Nowadays, I'm afraid these privileges will be taken away. Will airfares rise in the future? Will I be able to afford traveling at all? Will I have to sell my home and relocate? It's the uncertainties that keep me awake at night. These are strange times indeed. In my hometown, any aircraft visiting my local airport, bigger than a 737, would always make headlines in the local papers. These days, there are more than a dozen heavy Dreamliners parked at the airport at any one time. This doesn't make any headlines. It's now become the new normal, seeing grounded aircraft at almost every airport around the world. The only headlines nowadays is about how Norwegian is facing bankruptcy, passengers awaiting refunds, canceled holidays, and shattered dreams. Some of these beautiful aircrafts are only a few years old, and most of them will probably never fly for Norwegian again. I know I'm probably being overly dramatic, but like I said, it's the unknown, the uncertainty of whether travel will ever be the same again. I hope so, and I actually believe that one day, it will. In the meantime, I'm going to continue flying, commuting between my home in Brazil and my work in Norway, and I'll be documenting every flight during this pandemic and beyond.